The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, callers, and advisors on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS, the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be represented in part or entirety without the express written consent of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved.
Straight ahead tonight, North Eleuthera residents angry. They say they're in darkness all evening. We hear from a resident coming up. Also tonight, the power outages are widespread. Many people are voicing off. We have that for you as well. Homelessness, a growing concern tonight. Now there's a call for a long-term plan. And later tonight, Rick Fox, the once Garden Hills candidate, now F&M senator, says he's still stumped as to how he lost on May 12th. We hear from Fox coming up as well. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, tonight, there's a growing number of Bahamians asking a simple question. After years of promises, upgrades, and investments in the country's power network, why are the lights still going out? Just moments before tonight's show, a resident of North Eleuthera called this show and shared his frustration.
Good afternoon, Shanique. You're doing an excellent job. And I'm coming to you from North Eleuthera. As I speak right now, we're sitting in darkness. Not only that, our phones is up and down. Our cable is up and down. Big holes in the road, in the area between Bog and Three Island Dock. If you come, you'll see for yourself. And nobody want to say anything. People are afraid of victimization, and people is afraid. We called several of the generals. Nobody answered the phone. I'm going to repeat it again. As I speak to you now, we're sitting in darkness. This is Wednesday evening. BTC, the phones is out of order, up and down. The internet is out of order. That includes cable too. It's like nobody listening. Some say they got 5 years. I don't believe it's going to be 5 years.
Well, there's that gentleman, very angry, a very angry resident, speaking about the issue there in North Eleuthera. You know, we have focused on Central and South Eleuthera, who too have been having those issues. But this evening, I was quite surprised to be sitting in the newsroom and to get that call from that gentleman who sent the voice note and followed up his frustrations with his voice note. I want to say this before we move forward. So here is someone from around the same area, North Eleuthera, thereabouts, who earlier today, this is around 12:33, he says, listen, people have to understand some things. We have our power outages, and then, but BPL is really doing a good job, like to improve the electricity on Eleuthera. The solar plant system is moving forward, and the rotted utility poles and wires are being changed. I wanted to share that, and he goes on to say what the other works that are happening there on the heavy lifting. And mind you, it's vexing. I am with that same gentleman there and everybody else, including this one who messaged me around midday today, because when he talked about the rotting utility poles and the wires, then I realized the extent of the work involved that's happening. So it's not just this upgrade and we're wondering, okay, when y'all gonna flick this switch? Because that's the upgrade. No, it's so much more that goes into it. But again, let me be very measured and balanced in what I'm saying. To be in the heat for any length of time is also quite vexing in these extremely hot conditions this summer. And so we will continue this now. Here's another story for you. BPL's power woes don't stop there. You heard that gentleman from North Eleuthera. Rebecca Bain focused on other areas where residents are also angry tonight.
Despite assurances from Bahamas Power and Light that the country's electrical system is becoming more stable, many customers say their daily experience tells a different story.
For the past couple of days, my power has been going on every afternoon and it's been going on for hours.
Over the past several years, government and BPL officials have pointed to significant investments in generation, transmission, and distribution infrastructure designed to improve reliability. However, some residents argue those investments have yet to translate into the consistent service they were promised.
I think before that it was good, but now since they've upgraded to this new system, it's just been completely ridiculous.
It seemed efficient, but then recently they were talking about upgrades again, so I don't know if it's a chain reaction upgrade in another area. It seemed like it's been cutting out for hours instead of just a few seconds.
I don't support it at all. I really think they need to change back because it's really too hot for power to be going on, especially in the summertime.
For businesses, the impact goes beyond inconvenience. Hervey Swaby, manager of Juicing for Life, says today's interruptions alone created challenges for his business.
We basically lost half of our sales for the day. Our busy period is normally in the morning, then we have a little slow period, and then it picks back up again in the afternoon. But we also still had to spend money because we had to pay the employees for staying there while the power was out.
Swaby says if the outages become more frequent or last longer, businesses like his could face losses from spoiled inventory and increased operating costs.
Our blenders are expensive, our refrigerations are expensive, and with the outages, it could trigger an overload or a surge that damages the instruments. We have thought about generators, but you do know they are pretty expensive, and we would need one to power the whole shop.
But not everyone believes the situation is deteriorating. Some residents acknowledge the frustrations, but say they have seen signs of improvement compared to previous years.
I had a power outage, lasted about a half an hour or to an hour max. Other than that one-time experience, haven't had any issues. So I would say BPL has stepped up its game tremendously.
For now, BPL maintains that work to strengthen the grid is continuing and that system reliability is improving. Rebecca Bain, Eyewitness News.
Well, just got a message in from North Androsville. By the way, thank you for watching. I'm happy the power is on now that you can actually watch tonight's show. So this message says, we have the same problem in North Andros just about every day, a power outage. And so, as customers across the Family Islands continue to grapple with reliability issues and rolling blackouts, Bahamas Power and Light's Chief Operating Officer Anthony Christie says the recent outages are being driven by high demand as the company carries out right in the middle of ongoing system upgrades. Christie says BPL has also signed a number of energy and power agreements aimed at boosting capacity and improving reliability across the Family Islands as part of its long-term upgrade plans.
One of the loans in particular that we received is going to be focused on improving the T&D system across all of the Family Islands. Most of the IPPs include 7 partners that are going to take over generation or be baseload generation across the Family Islands. So the focus now is across the Family Islands. One of the first, IPPs to roll out renewables will be in the Family Islands. So a lot of work is being done, and they're going to see it. They see some of the land clearing already in place.
But we heard just what I shared a minute ago with another area of North Eleuthera. He just described the works that he sees that's happening. And again, I was quite surprised when he talked about rotted poles. I mean, we know some of those infrastructure's been there for many decades. I just didn't really think about the details of it all. And this is where I'm going to bring in the Hot Topics panel right now. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines and good evening to each of you. Peggy Candace, Ellington Ferguson, welcome, and it's good to see you both.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Peggy. Good evening, Bahamas.
You know, it's nothing much you can say, and we know BPL, the good news is they have not been running from the people. They have been talking, and that's good. The people need to hear from you, even if they're angry. But this upgrades and trying to keep the lights on and this very extreme heat that we're experiencing doesn't make for a good combination, does it?
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me. No, it doesn't. But like you say, BPL leadership from the minister, the chairwoman, the CEO, the COO, Mr. Christie just spoke. They are not running from the issue. The minister called it growing pains. And they are explaining, they are being transparent on what is going on. Unfortunately, if your lights are off and it's 1,000 degrees inside and outside, it's difficult to hear the truth of the matter, but it's the fact, it's reality that the supply and demand, and one of the things, and I know it is no consolation, this is not happening only in the Bahamas, but throughout the world, the increase in temperatures. I saw Florida giving out another warning that it even will get hotter. And if Florida's hotter, definitely will get hotter. And so the demand, everybody's trying to keep cool. And the gentleman in the store, he made a great example. If he does this, then the system overloads, and that is what we are experiencing as a nation. The demand, it's summer, and the transitioning and the improvement is taking place at the same time. So it's like a perfect storm, and so BPL leadership is being quite transparent. I know it's difficult to hear.
Yeah, Shanique, it's always good to hear the technocrats and BPL people come out and, like you said a while ago, they're not afraid to face the people, and I think more of that should be done. I think in the initial stages, though, I don't think that we kind of prepared our people properly for what this whole transformation of the energy reform was going to look like. We talked about how people are going to have better light bills and better consistency with the light. We didn't kind of walk them through what this whole process is going to be like. See, and I had a friend, they had a problem with their house a few months ago. And first of all, before they touched the problem, while the power was going in and out, they had to wait, they had to call BPL. BPL had to come and turn their whole power off from the pole. So one said inconvenience. Once BPL do that, then they had to go back and make a appointment for the electrician to come now that BPL has done their part. And so I just said it to show you the kind of inconvenience that these things are going to cause. I was talking to somebody from BPL a few weeks ago, and they were talking to me about some of those lines that we see running with those poles. Those lines have been there forever. And we have been growing, we've been putting more load as we build more and bigger hotels, and we've had those same lines all these years. And I drove down Gladstone Road, and if you drive very slow, I'm not sure whether it's the same way now, but you could literally stop on the side of the road and hear those lines singing, I mean, from the pressure that's on them. And so it's going to be a lot of work. And now that you see that they're moving into the family islands, you're now hearing the family islands are complaining. Obviously, it speaks to what they're doing. Now, if they are working on a certain area, they're taking down certain areas, it's going to cause an overload somewhere else. And so, yes, these things can be expected, but I would love to see more continuous talk, not necessarily always to respond to things. Like we said on this show earlier, there should be a continuous kind of way of updating the Bahamian people, letting them know what's going to happen, why this is happening, even prior to something happening, so they can expect these things going forward.
But there are updates, Shanique and Mr. Ferguson, even when there are planned outages, even when there are unplanned outages. For instance, in Roxanne, there was an update, there was a car accident that knocked down a pole, and BPL sent out an update advising that it's going to take a certain amount of time to replace the broken pole. And so BPL Communication Department is constantly updating the public. And there are groups for every island. There are people responsible for communicating to each island in this country. And so the work continues, the improvement continues, and of course the growing pains will continue until completion.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you this, F&M Deputy Leader Shannon Lloyd Cartwright says hogwash. He says he's not buying any of it. He's dismissing recent power outages and heightened road traffic fees as being caused by global challenges. He said, no, it's not caused by that. He said what's causing them is policy failure by this Davis administration. Cartwright challenged Prime Minister Philip Davis and the PLP administration to, quote, cut government waste before cutting into the pockets of the Bahamian people.
The Bahamian people, Prime Minister, are now complaining and crying about taxes. So the Prime Minister should do the right thing for the Bahamian people and reverse the decision on road traffic increases. For years, we've heard speeches from the Davis administration about shared sacrifice and tough decisions. But the only people sacrificing are Bahamian families. And the only thing getting tough is the cost of living.
Next week.
July, yeah.
The last increase. And so I'll tell you, Mr. Cartwright, you sound so strong and you look so impressive on that screen just now. Come sit and do an interview. You've been very shy of that. It's good that you're speaking out, but you've got to speak out fully and thoroughly. Now, he says, hogwash, that the power outages simply is because of policy failure. You all, how do you respond to his views on the power outages we've been having and experiencing around the nation?
Well, I understand his frustration. I will encourage him to take Shanique's invitation because you want to be relevant.
It's free. It's free this time. The political season over.
And then you're in the house, so you get to talk. People get to see you, and you get to impress your party. But the information is available for Mr. Cartwright. I know you have time on his hand. Just tune into all of BPL's platform and get up to date on what's going on with the improvement. And then you won't just be saying hogwash.
No, my very good friend, Mr. Shannon Owen Cartwright, I don't think you can just put it to hogwash. I know we've been having severe outages prior to any kind of transformation of the energy reform. And obviously, if you go to really attack and deal with the issue, instead of the patches, you're going to have what seems to be the same consistent outages. But then actually they're really doing a holistic approach to it. So I wouldn't say hogwash. I would say let's see how this thing pans out. I think we should be having timeline. I think they did give some timeline initially. And let's see how this thing pans out. And hopefully the Progressive Liberal Party can get this whole thing sorted out in another couple of months, another year or so. But it is a work that's going to take time. So I would not just put it to hogwash. No, I wouldn't be that political with it.
Cartwright is also saying that, listen, the new transportation industry fees when you go to license vehicles at the road traffic department, that too is ill-conceived. He says it's just an additional burden on the backs of Bahamians. Well, we'll take a look at what he's talking about right here on Beyond the Headlines after this, and hear from many of you and your thoughts on the power outages. Beyond the Headlines is back right after this.
Hey, it's your boy Charlie Bahama here at Superwash, Superwash's newest spokes model. And I'm here to tell you about Superwash's large capacity washers and dryers for all your big loads.
I know I see that Charlie Banana coming here just now.
Uh-oh, luckily it's also big enough for me to hide it.
I thought he was right over here where these large capacity washer and dryers is. It's big enough now to handle your big loads, you know. Yeah, like your comfort on your blanket. But just look at us. Somebody forget to turn on the dryer. Oh, stop! Help! You hear something? Yeah, that's the sound of clean. Superwash washes you, presses you, and entertains you 24/7.
Come, let's celebrate the Bahamas' independence. Stop by Janae's Uniform Set and get 30% off selected Independence Polo items. Get an additional 10% volume discount for 30 or more pieces. Net items excluded. The net items, Janae's unique limited edition Independence tees. Don't forget the black, gold, and aquamarine ribbons in various sizes to decorate the home or office. Visit Janae's Chesapeake Road or text the Janae's digital team at 817-3295 or email sales@janae's.com or www.janae's.com. Happy Independence, Bahamas from Janae's.
My name is Charles Wesley Gould. My organic farm is Nice Layers Organic Farm. I have 230 boys up here. I give them fresh water, pumpkin, lettuce, cabbages, all the vegetables. Anything what I eat, they eat. Right now we sell the eggs for $7 a dozen from Monday to Friday. On Saturdays, you can get 4 dozen eggs for $21. I'll be located on Comega Road, the western side, Silverstone Primary School.
Here at CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store, we believe in our prices. That's why we offer our price match guarantee. If you find any of our items being sold for a lower price at any of our competitors, whether that's online or in store, let us know about it and we'll beat the price right there on the spot. No one does it like CBS Bahamas. Learn more at cbsbahamas.com.
The general public is hereby advised that the installation, placement, or display of any sign, billboard, banner, or other advertising structure within public parks, public beaches, road reserves, medians, or other public spaces require prior written approval from the authority. No sign, billboard, banner, or advertising material shall be installed, displayed, or posted in any public space without the necessary permit or authorization. Within 30 days of this notice, effective June 18, 2026, unauthorized signage may be removed and disposed of by the authority without further notice. For information on permit requirements or to obtain the necessary approvals, please contact the Permits Department at 242-604-3758. Your cooperation in preserving the safety, beauty, and orderly appearance of our public spaces is appreciated.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. We are continuing to look at the statement and comments from F&M Deputy Shannon Don Cartwright. We talked about the power outages and his views on that. Well, we're going to look at the Road Traffic Department and those fees. We haven't gone in depth on those as yet, but let's just sort of skim the surface of what Cartwright is saying. Cartwright is saying that the proposed increase of fees, which happens July 1st, those, of course, depending on the weight of your vehicle, the type of vehicle it is, depending on how much you pay. The last increase in road traffic fees, I am told, is minimum of a decade ago. But we now have so many different variations of vehicles on the streets, commercial vehicles, just any number and tonnage as well. And to think that these fees have been paid, Ellington and Peggy, as they have been standard for a minimum of 10 years. Now, Cartwright says, though, this administration, this Davis administration, is quite slick in that they are putting a burden on the backs of the Bahamian people who have to now think of paying more fees, more insurance, getting their vehicles insured for a year, all this stuff. He said, no, this is unfair. It is a policy failure and to revisit it. Your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know why he continues to harp on this. And I also would wish, first, let me say this, that the members and the department come and sit down and explain these things. Don't allow
I've
others.
invited the minister, Minister Leon Lundy. Come sit down and talk to the Bahamian people about the Ministry of Transport, the Road Traffic Department, and all of this so they understand.
And break it down.
I don't have to guess whether it's been 10 years or 15 or 20 since there's been a last increase for the Road Traffic Department.
Yes, it's important, and I'll say it again, when you fail to communicate, you will fail. And so Mr. Cartwright is appealing, and I won't use the word pandering, but speaking of the concerns of the Bahamians. And I would wish this administration will take heed. I see many on social media is calling for it to be a stand down on the increase and a stand down on the new policy concerning inspection. So I think it is worth the conversation. It is worth coming in.
What is the new policy concerning inspection?
Inspection where you pay in advance.
You pay for your inspection whether your vehicle is approved or not.
Yes.
Well, again, I think we sometimes think we play in dollhouse. I feel as though if you are going to get your vehicle inspected and it's refused, then that's that fee. When you go back and meet the inspection requirements, then you pay for that. I imagine that happens everywhere else. Ellington, your thoughts?
Shanique, first of all, I may use the term of the president of the Motor Dealers Association. I think there should have been some kind of a dialogue on this when you talk about increasing fees and when you talk about changing variation of the description of vehicle. When you had a class of vehicle that goes from £1,000 to £5,000 on the one price, and then you split that and go from £3,000 above, I'm paying a whole different price. And it just was a sudden jerk on the Bahamian public, even when this administration has pledged no new, well, this is not a new tax, but it is an increase in the taxes that we pay on the road. And I don't think it was properly introduced to the public. No.
It wasn't properly introduced, of course not. And so as when you fail to properly introduce and roll out something and just figure you're going to announce it, this is what you have. Mm-hmm. This is the result of that. Mm-hmm. Now, though, in my view, and I am not excited to pay any more than anybody else. But what are we gonna do? The roads, okay, you say the road got the potholes and fixing and different national infrastructure. You know how there can be a road project and other infrastructural upgrades in the state of Florida. Just let's use Florida, for example. Almost every time you visit,
Every time.
because they have these fees, and these fees are phased in, I guess, built in incrementally as they supposed to happen. My thing is, we don't want to pay extra for not one thing, but talk about the state of affairs all around. We talked about the lifting, and I know I may be mixing apples and oranges. What I'm saying though, in order for BPL to operate properly and those rotted utility poles to be fixed and everything else, then we gonna have to pay more. So it's as simple as that. But I can tell you this: with paying more, we want efficient governance. We want governance that operates and good attitude from people, and not just you sitting there chewing gum and patting your weave and being rude to people when they come to a public service office.
And I think, Shanique, that is one of the concerns. With the increase of fees, the public paying more, we would like better service.
Better service.
We would like improved roads. We don't want to wait until we know the rainy seasons. We don't want to wait until the potholes are made larger by the rain. So we want pre-action. We want advance.
Yeah, we want more. Well, you all get on top of things.
Yes.
Don't wait for the announcement to announce it. Get on top of things. Let us see the work being done so that overall quality of life is improved and enhanced.
If you have to increase taxes, make the people feel good about it at least. You can see where their taxes is going, is being spent on infrastructure, better infrastructure, better service that you're delivering to the community.
And better communication.
Well, that part. I know we should go to no government office and you're all sitting on eating breakfast and planning lunch. It should not do that to any government office. Come on, if you all can't wake up an hour earlier and have your whatever you need at home, don't come there to sit at work at the beginning of the day and figure that that's your breakfast break. Let's just improve things all around.
Yes.
You know, we have a nation to move forward.
Yes, progress.
Well, that part. Eyewitness News turned to social media today, posing the question, what matters more to you regarding the electricity in the Bahamas? Well, 7% of the participants voted fewer power outages, even if the bills stay high. So they don't mind paying high bills, just stop the outages. 59% voted lower electricity bills, even if the outages continue occasionally. And that's been happening worldwide. So they say occasional outages, fine, but not this. Meanwhile, 33% voted major investment in infrastructure, even if it takes time.
Which is now going.
Which is now what's happening right now. It's taking time. Meanwhile, 1% say you're not sure. Yeah, I don't quite understand
I like
what they're
those.
sure about.
I like those percentages.
Yes.
Yeah, no, the people are, as you can see, Bahamians are paying attention. They have a view, they have a voice and opinions. And this is what all of us are going to do together. Join hands and hold each government ministry, agency accountable. It's, after all, it's our lives we're trying to move forward and make things happen for. Yeah. Well, homelessness remains a growing concern across the country, and stakeholders say it's time for a realistic long-term plan. They argue that without addressing the underlying causes, the problems will only continue to worsen. Laurencia Smith has the story.
As government acknowledge a growing homelessness problem, members of the community are warning that the crisis has been years in the making and no longer can be ignored. During her budget contribution on Wednesday, Social Services Minister Senator Barbara Cartwright admitted that homelessness appears to be increasing across the country as more Bahamians struggle to keep a roof over their heads. And
Come up with a realistic plan with lots of options for solutions where we can leverage what's already being done by, say, churches, community groups, all these feeding ministries.
I think it would be premature to suggest anything comprehensive or definite until we first understand the nature of the issue, what's causing the rise in homelessness.
We need an action plan. We need to address a strategic plan. We need to address the issue, come up with the problem, and then find steps to how to resolve it and how to keep it under control.
Officials say a combination of high housing costs, economic hardship, natural disaster, abuse, untreated mental health challenges are fueling the problem. Community leader and founder of Phone, Candy Gibson, says those explanations are not enough. She argues that successive governments have failed to develop a comprehensive strategy to address homelessness before it reached this point.
But staying, taking you on with too much urine, and you must understand, behemoths are fertile. We have children. You understand? We have children, and some landlords tell you point blank, they're not taking you in with this amount of children. So what do you do then? What do you then? You have persons fleeing from domestic violence, and that's another thing I want to talk about too. We have persons fleeing from domestic violence. Where they go? And a two-week stay at a shelter, how could that help somebody who is fleeing from domestic violence? Please tell me.
Gibson says that the human cost of the crisis is often overlooked, with children, seniors, and entire families increasingly finding themselves on the edge of displacement.
And you want to hire 2 other children to eat? We ain't in a crisis? Come on, so we need to now, like I say, housing person doing shelters one thing, but it has to be sustainable and has to be a realistic goal and a realistic plan.
For members of the community, however, the question remains whether the response will be enough to slow a problem they say already spreads through communities across the country. Laurencia Smith, Eyewitness News.
Well, Candy Gibson says Bahamians are fertile. Listen, that is, and you know what? Maybe let me pull back a little bit, because again, we were talking about population decline. So that needs to be balanced properly. But again, every man has to be responsible for if you decide to have 10 kids, excellent. Help populate this island. But it's just a lot to think to consider when you make those decisions. Peggy and Ellie. Peggy and Ellie.
Pleased to see Candy Gibson out there doing what she does. And she's one to speak because she's in the fight for people and Bahamian people, homeless people, the less fortunate. I think there got to be a partnership between the government, between private individuals and company and the church to deal with this situation, because we all have to come together and be our brothers and sisters keeper. But I will not leave out the fact that some people want to be on the street. I know a man from my babies were babies, and now they're men and women. He's been on the street laughing every time I see him walking the streets. And I also have a sister who deals with people who are having some challenges. Some people just, they're mentally incapable of not living in homes, living with their family, and they would choose to be on the street. And so there are different situations, but I think a partnership with the 3 entities, private, government, and the church, will address the situation even better.
Yeah, Shanique, when we have this conversation about homelessness, I think Peggy alluded to it, that there are different categories. There are some people that are mental, and a lot of them, in some cases, walk out of decent homes and they're on the street. You can't take them in the home or nothing like that. So some family members would give them new clothing or good change of clothing whenever. And stuff like that, sometimes food. But there is a growing number of people who are genuinely homeless. Some of them, they may not even be out on the street yet, because either they're living with a friend or a family, and so they're not as visible. Sometimes social service will put them up for 8 weeks or whatever, and then they're out on the streets, or they got to find somewhere to go to the next person. It's a problem that it's not a political 5-year circle time. It's a problem that needs to be taken a lifelong, holistic approach as to how we deal with this problem. We got to find out from these individuals what's going on with them, what's happening in their life, their job status. If we're going to put them up in a shelter, they're got to be a process. How can we retrain? We have the retraining program. Get these people prepared for a job so that they can be able to take care of themselves, because when 6-8 weeks and then you say your time up, then what? It's cheaper you didn't take them in from the first place, because that ain't have them, their condition, their situation ain't changed none. Jobs ain't easy to find, especially people who are at the bottom of the totem pole. And so we got to find a holistic way that we approach this and deal with this head on.
And I agree with you on the point of training, because you can be getting assistance, living assistance, and you're still in your mental state. You're still struggling, trying to come to terms, and so there must be counseling attached to this assistant. There must be some training. There must be job preparedness for them to be once again released,
reintroduced
into
to
being private citizens. Yes,
absolutely.
And so these things, it got to be holistic, and that is why I say it got to be a partnership, and then some of you got to make better life decisions once you receive
that's a part of it.
the assistance. You can't go back making the same bad choices that landed you where you are. And so there's also a personal responsibility, because you can't be getting bailed out time after time. And if it is because you're having children, then that must be addressed. We have to have honest conversation with individuals and honest approach. If you can't take care of 3, you can't have a 4th one.
And sometimes it's just some people find themselves bad or down on their luck, joblessness. They get fired or released from the job suddenly, and because of their age, it's not easy to find a job. You heard Candy spoke about abuse. I can tell you there's some situation where some women tolerate some things because what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? And so if they go out of this, sometimes they end right back up with their man because what can I do? I can't help myself.
Familiar spaces.
Well, you got to be holistic.
It absolutely does. Nearly 2 decades after a young man was stabbed to death in New Providence, the fugitive accused of the killings is once again in custody, but not here in the Bahamas. Linton Ritchie Jr. has been following this story today and has the latest.
A Bahamian murder case that had been stalled for almost 20 years could now show signs of movement. Shelton Thompson, the man accused of killing 19-year-old Richard Bremer and then fleeing the country on the eve of his trial, is now in custody in the United States. But before Bremer's family can see their day in court, there's another legal hurdle to clear. Local prosecutors allege that on April 12, 2009, Thompson fatally stabbed Bremer following a traffic accident. After years of delay, his trial was scheduled to begin in February 2024. However, authorities say Thompson fled the country just 1 day before proceedings were set to start. His failure to appear in court resulted in 2 of his female cousins being ordered to forfeit his $15,000 bail bond. For more than 2 years, questions remained about Thompson's whereabouts. Those questions were answered last week when he pled guilty in U.S. courts. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida, Thompson was stopped by law enforcement during a traffic stop back in February, found to be in possession of a firearm and in the country illegally. On Friday, Thompson pled guilty in the federal court to possession of a firearm as an illegal alien. With Thompson now in U.S. custody, attention is turned to whether he can be returned to the Bahamas to face the pending murder charge.
The issue would be when it comes for adjudication over there, because they may choose to say he has to serve his sentence before he can be sent to the Bahamas.
Attorney General Wayne Munro says the Bahamas and the United States are bound by an extradition treaty, but notes that the U.S. authorities may first want to complete their own case against Thompson.
He has not been sentenced here yet, so if they would extradite him and then he were to be acquitted here, then that would be the terms that would have to be determined. So it complicates the matter that he's already been sentenced.
Munro says any request for Thompson's return would be processed through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
A request would have to be sent to the State Department by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and then it goes through the diplomatic process to engage the U.S. system with regard to requests for extradition, and then that takes place in the U.S. courts, our request to them to send him here.
While the case had been delayed for years, Munro says the passage of time does not prevent prosecutors from moving forward should Thompson be returned to the jurisdiction.
There is no statute of limitation on murder. Even if there was, he's already been indicted. He's already been charged. And so whenever he appears, he can be the subject of a trial.
Thompson has not yet been sentenced in the U.S. Federal prosecutors say he faces up to 15 years in prison. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
Don't go anywhere. Beyond the Headlines is back right after this.
This year, Island Luck Sportsbook sent one of their very own customers all the way to San Antonio to watch Game 5 of the NBA Finals. The Knicks closed it out right then and there. No Game 6, no Game 7. Our customer was sitting in that arena the night the championship was decided. That's the kind of luck we talking about at Island Luck Sportsbook. Winners live here. Must be 18 and over. Island Luck reminds you that it's only a game, so please game responsibly.
Wealth should not only belong to a select few. At Investar, we believe the door should be open to everyone. We provide options for planning a better future. Our investment funds are designed to assist you in reaching your long-term financial goals. Let us show you how.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go, to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods, taste the difference.
Yes. Well, questions continue about what the future of healthcare for NHI patients will look like as frustrations mount among physicians. Danielle Dean has the latest on this story.
About what access to healthcare services will look like in the future, as a number of physicians offering national health insurance continue to outline boiling frustrations with late compensation for their NHI patient visits.
Recently, I had an experience where I had an appointment last month with my NHI doctor, and I was called the day before to be informed that my doctor was no longer with NHI and if I wanted to still come in. And I told the lady no, I would call NHI to find out what is the problem, and then I would reschedule, and that is what I did. I called NHI and I rescheduled my appointment, and I also got reassigned to another NHI doctor.
But how long until other doctors exit the program? This question looming as a number of them have already expressed a desire to drop out. But as the number of physicians decrease, the program is becoming congested.
The main issue I have is getting appointments to see the doctors. Most of the doctors have so many patients that you have a difficult time getting appointments.
Hopefully they would get paid so it won't affect the service that they provide to the Bahamian people.
Even as Public Hospitals Authority and health officials continue to emphasize limited resources here at the main hospital, this NHI patient says she's sought care here before and received exemplary service. Still, she, like many other Bahamians, opt to use their NHI benefits at private clinics rather than come to the public hospital.
We have facilities at PMH, but if you have the option to go in to see a private doctor, where would you go?
Eyewitness's daily poll Tuesday posing the question, what is most important to improve the program? To which 17% answered a full review and reform of the current system, 12% saying expanded access to affordable health care for patients, and 8% saying better communication between doctors and the government. While the overwhelming majority, 63% of respondents, answered faster payments and support for health care for patients. While the National Health Insurance Authority, in a statement yesterday, committed to seeing that payments are made in a timelier fashion and even alleged making payments as recently as yesterday, some Bahamians call it too serious an issue to not swiftly rectify, as the healthcare of thousands of Bahamians hangs in the balance. Danielle Dean, Eyewitness News.
Of course, this is something we looked at last evening and gave opinions and thoughts of very Ellington, a service that is quite important, has its place in its role. It's really come to be, I guess, an extension of the public healthcare sector that many Bahamians have embraced, look forward to, and to see now that there's a huge question mark over it. It is something that must be sorted out.
Absolutely, Shanique. I think the whole idea of NHI is a wonderful instrument in the Bahamas government that they have put forth for the Bahamian people. I think it's been a long time in the making, and just with all of the turmoil and struggle that has been wrangling back and forth politically, I think it's time that we get on with it, make it work, make it happen. These physicians that are looking after the people, obviously the patients are not complaining about the care that they're receiving, so they're receiving adequate care. Please, government, let's go. Let's get the funds in place to deal with NHI. And because the government will always also talk about expanding NHI. Before we can expand, we need to make sure that we got this right where we are now. Let's get these doctors paid. Let's get this program moving so people don't have to be worried about having to drop and change a doctor. When you got to develop a relationship with a physician, that is not something easy to move on and just find another physician. And so let's get this right, man. Let's get it. We got to get it right. This is that important for the Bahamian people.
I'm going to take the risk of getting more cuss out and stuff. But how about when it comes to private doctors? The government take the approach that the private insurance takes when it comes to paying a percentage yourself, and then the government cover the other part. So you pay 40%, the government pays 60% when you select a private doctor for NHI. I mean, I know they will be screaming for that, but this is another example of government service that is oversubscribed. Mm-hmm. The demand is great. And so if the demand is great, there are challenges paying for the demand. And so would you have an issue if the government pay a portion of your private, if you say you don't want to go to PMH? You go to a private and you want to use your NHI like you would do, and you use Atlantic Medical. You pay a percentage up front yourself, and then the government pay the balance. How about that?
That sounds like something quite feasible and something to consider. Absolutely, Peggy. An excellent idea. Yes. Because I mean, you want this to keep moving. You don't need this bottlenecking that's happened, where private doctors are saying, y'all ain't pay us, or y'all paying us late, or whatever it is you're doing, and we're no longer interested. It has to be some which way to move this forward that everyone is happy.
The reality is the government cannot continue, especially private doctors, and private doctors have a different fee from the clinics. Because insurance are paying, because NHI paying, I think the fee is probably a little higher. And so we have to understand that supply and demand, there's great demand. And so the fees may be off the charts, greater than what was planned for. And so we might have to pitch in. If you want to go to a private doctor, receive private service in private facility, then you have to come up with your private funds, part of it. How about that?
Well, this evening, Senator Clint Watson was to appear on this show. However, senators are presently meeting in the upper chamber, wrapping up and passing the 2026-2027 budget. Well, speaking of, and by the way, we will seek to have him on at a later date. Of course, you will be very aware of that, and so that you can watch that interview. Now, speaking of the Senate, more than a month after the 2026 general election, Free National Movement Senator Rick Fox says he is still searching for answers following his defeat at the polls. Fox lost his bid for election to Progressive Liberal Party candidate Mario Boleg, and of course he was the incumbent in that area. A result, he says, continues to leave him with questions about what went wrong during his campaign. Now, despite the loss, Fox says his faith remains, adding that he continues to trust God's plan for his life and political journey.
Because there have been many moments in my life when I thought I knew exactly where God was leading me. And there have been many more moments when I could not see clearly his plans for me. Yet time and time again, his plans have proven better than my own. So today, I do not rise questioning why I'm here. I rise trusting that he put me here according to his will. Now, Lord, while I'm being honest, there are still a few chapters in the story I don't fully understand. Garden Hills come to mind, for one. I'm still waiting for the footnotes on that one.
Well, Senator Fox, you all heard him and saw him there, says, listen, what went wrong, particularly during the election campaign, his campaign, that the people of Garden Hill say, you know what, it's okay, thanks. Ellington and Peggy, what perhaps you can maybe shed some light on what went wrong during his campaign?
Self-search, Mr. Fox. Somebody said on my page, because I shared a clipping with Mr. Fox, Senator Fox's presentation, which was very sober and calm.
Measured.
Measured and so unlike him during the campaign, Mr. Fox. If you want to start somewhere, I'm so sorry. Somebody said on my page, if we had this version of Rick Fox during the campaign, he probably might not win, but he would have gotten more votes. I mean, Bahamians like to be entertained, but they willing to vote for so.
Peggy, your voice.
So if you want a clue,
I think Shanique is very refreshing to see Senator Rick Fox in the Senate. I think he's presenting himself very well. I must use the term of Peggy. Maybe if I take that approach during this campaign, he probably would have done a whole lot better. I mean, political parties normally go and after a loss at a general election, they normally go to Jamaica or someplace else and get these very expensive consultants. I want to say to Senator Rick Fox, I am a consultant and you can give me a call. I'm not going to charge you an exorbitant fee. And I will kind of give you a detailed breakdown of why you really lost in Garden Hills. It's very simple, but the people just said no. The campaign and I believe they said no to the Free National Movement in general. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The persons within the Free National Movement that won their seats are, for the most part, secured F&M areas with the exception of maybe one. But that's generally the party was rejected. And I'm sure that by now the Free National Movement is doing their process of trying to reflect and see what happened, what went wrong, what we need to fix, what need to be our direction in the future. That need to be a holistic thing. It's not all about you, sir.
But he can contact us.
Yes.
Fergie and Scott Association.
Fergie Scott.
1-800-FIND OUT now. That's exactly what you call, and they can help. They can help you.
It's
but
under $2 million.
Yeah.
we're not very expensive.
Very inexpensive.
He is a Bahamian.
Very inexpensive.
We're looking out for our political.
Looking out for your brother. You know what I mean? The one who just that one. Yeah. But no. Of course, Rick Fox and many of the others, Clint Watson, Eleuthera Ramming, all making their presentations and at their first. Mind you, Eleuthera has been around politics for quite some time.
I expect him to do it.
Yeah, but they still kind of. It was nice to see them making their first
debut. Yes.
Their first speech in the Senate and to the budget, no doubt.
Yes.
And so all of that happened within the last day or so.
And I think the Senate and the House will be the most watched in our history because today it was so welcoming to see the level of communication. Everybody was well presented in the Senate, unlike the little crazy that went on in the House Assembly. But the Senate, it is so impressive when you look at the level of maturity today. I don't know what y'all have planned for us other days, but today I had young people in my office paying attention and making their comments about it. And so continue, because we Bahamians, young Bahamians, we're watching, and you have an awesome responsibility to us.
And we do want the best. Yes, Arlington?
And Shanique, you know what, to further what Peggy said, for the first time in a long time, we know that the Senate is the upper house where they scrutinize what the House of Assembly, the lower house have done. And for the first time in a long time, we have senior men like the Jerome Fitzgerald, like the Wayne Monroe, and you mentioned the Eleuthera Ramming, and those who are well seasoned in politics, who understand government, who understand politics and these whole things. And so it is refreshing to see the level of persons in the Senate.
And the president of the Senate.
The president of the Senate,
she handled herself so well. And so
Absolutely.
we can't go without acknowledging you, ma'am. Awesome job in keeping the flow and keeping order.
She's done a good job last term and this time.
Yeah.
She's very poised. She's very smooth. She's very much in control of the proceedings. Kudos to you, Michelle Adley.
Both houses will be quite interesting to watch this term, absolutely, because of just who many of the players are and what their contributions will more than likely be. And so, yeah, it was interesting watching the Senate today. Everybody, all the senators showed up well prepared with whatever points of view they wanted to put forward, and they did that, and a good debate. And now, again, they are working to pass.
Senator Clint.
To pass.
Three-piece suit.
Okay
then.
That's what it is. He probably will wear that three-piece suit or another here on the show when he shows up. But I'm looking forward for that discussion. Meanwhile, I thank you all very much. Ellington Ferguson, Peggy Candace, thank you very, very much. I want to say a huge thank you to all of you for tuning in this evening. And for the person that messaged me, Peggy says call her. Yeah, absolutely.
Be brave.
Hello to you, Grand Bahama. Hello to you, and of course to Eleuthera. Thank you all for trusting us with your stories and your points of view and how you are feeling, just to help you get answers and get some resolution. This is what Beyond the Headlines is here for. We will continue to do that and help make that happen. Meanwhile, for the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.